All right, 2.6 notes. We're going to find the inverses of 2 by 2 matrices. So the learning target is to find the inverse of a matrix. The multiplicative identity says any number times 1 is that number. So A times 1 is A. For a matrix, the multiplicative identity is an identity matrix times any matrix is that matrix. So in this case, it can't be just the number 1 because of how you multiply matrices. You do first number times first number plus second number times second number. That's why you're getting the same value as the original matrix. So this is considered an identity matrix. A multiplicative inverse is when a number times its reciprocal is 1. So a number times the reciprocal equals 1. To find the inverse of a matrix, it's a little bit more complicated. Step 1 is to find the determinant. So cross multiply minus cross multiply. Then you're going to switch the matrix in a pattern I'll show you in a second. Then you multiply the reciprocal of the determinant with the new switched matrix. So here is what that's going to look like. If we have matrix A with A, B, C, and D, this is the symbol for inverse. So A to the negative 1 equals the reciprocal of the determinant, so 1 over whatever the determinant is. Then the matrix switches order. So notice how the letters A and D switch places. So this first direction, you switch the order of those two numbers. In the other direction, diagonal, the numbers stay where they are, they just become the opposite. So the switch matrix switches these numbers and makes these opposite. And then you just multiply this into the matrix. Please note that the determinant can't be 0 because you can't divide by 0. 1 over 0 is undefined. Okay, so we're going to start with the example number 1a. We're going to start by finding the determinant. Again, you always start at the very top when you're finding the determinant and cross multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6 minus, cross multiply the other way, negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. The reciprocal of 1 is 1, or 1 over 1 if you prefer. We're going to multiply that to the switched matrix. So remember, the first cross you switch the order of. So it's going to not go 3 then 2, it's going to go 2 then 3. The other direction becomes the opposite. So this is going to become a positive 1, and this is going to become a positive 5. So now we can multiply the reciprocal into our matrix. Notice we're just multiplying by 1, so you get that matrix. So this is the inverse of this matrix. Okay, let's do it again in part B. You start by finding the determinant. You start on the top, cross multiply. 2 times 4 is 8, minus, cross multiply the other way. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So 8 minus negative 12, it becomes plus 12. So 8 plus 12 is 20. The reciprocal of 20 is 1 over 20. We're going to multiply that to the switched matrix. So the first direction, we switch the order. So it's going to not go 2, 4, it's going to go 4, 2. The other direction, it becomes opposite. So it's going to become a positive 3 and a negative 4. Now from here, we can multiply 1 over 20 in. So this is basically putting all of these numbers over 20. So notice 4 over 20 is going to reduce to 1 over 5. We have 3 over 20, that does not reduce. This will be negative 4 over 20, that reduces to negative 1/5. And then 2 over 20 reduces to 1 over 10. So this is our inverse. Okay, you're up. Go ahead, give C a try. Find the inverse. Okay, hopefully you were able to cross multiply, minus cross multiply, get negative 35. Take the reciprocal, it stays negative, it just flips to over 35. And then you're multiplying that with the switch matrix, so it's 8 and negative 1 switch places, and these become opposite. And then it becomes, all of those become negative 8 over 35, negative 9 over 35, negative 3 over 35, and then positive 1 over 35. Okay, so remember, sometimes I won't tell you what you're supposed to do, so it'll say to the negative 1 power, that's the inverse, you just have to know. So same process, even though it looks different. So you just cross multiply. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. And the reciprocal of 0 is 1 over 0. Please note you can't divide by 0, so this one is not possible. This one does not have an inverse. Okay, we can actually find the inverse of any square matrix using our calculator. So the only one you have to know by hand is a 2 by 2. But you can use a calculator to find the inverse of a 3 by 3. So to do that, the first thing you do is type the matrix into your calculator. So you go second matrix, and then you go over to edit. Let's call it matrix A. This is a 3 by 3 matrix, and you just type in 3, negative 4, 2, 0, 2, 1, 4, negative 5, and 3. Make sure you hit enter on that last number so it goes to the front. Once you're typed in, you have to go back to the main menu. So you would go second quit. Now we can type in what we want it to do. So going back here, we're going to find the name of matrix A. We're going to hit enter. That puts matrix A on your home screen. Now the inverse is this x to the negative 1 button right here. So when you hit that, it's taking the matrix A and finding the inverse. So when you hit enter, it's going to give you the inverse. So our inverse is 11, 2, negative 8, 4, 1, negative 3, negative 8, negative 1, 6. Using the Desmos matrix calculator. So you're going to click New Matrix. It has 3 rows by 3 columns. And you're going to type in the numbers. So we have 3 and negative 4 and 2. And then 0, 2, 1, 4, negative 5, and then 3. Once you're typed in, do a quick double check. Make sure that it's all typed in correctly. Click off of here so you get your operations. And then, hey, look, there's that inverse button. So you're going to take matrix A, and then you're going to find the inverse. So there it is. We have 11, 2, negative 8, 4, 1, negative 3, and negative 8, negative 1, and 6.